We had a couple of good team meetings this past weekend, and it's time for us to pull this team together. This is a big game, and we know what we're up against, but we're ready to get going, and we know this that we're going to play with a lot of passion and a lot of intensity. We're going to be a team that's disciplined, a team that's focused, and a team that just really enjoy playing. I know the coaches and the players, they're excited about getting back on the practice field so that we can go back to work. And this is the week that we get this playing going, that where we get our confidence back. You know, you look at the previous 2 weeks, we played with so much confidence and played. And it's not so much of how we played, but it's all about, after watching that tape, it's about just doing the little things. And once we do the little things, we know that we can be the team that we expect to be. And I know that team last week wasn't a team that we think it should be, but we're going to get better. And that's what it's all about right now.
Questions, please.
Charlie, the game like Saturday tends to, people want to pull back and look at the big picture, obviously. We all here know what the situation was that you were dealt with the talent and all that, but at what point is it fair to stop saying, oh, this was Mac's fault and this is on you and your staff?
Well, I never will ever say it was Coach Brown's fault, and it wasn't ever his fault. It is on me. And you look at it, we have the players. It's about us coaching it, and it has nothing to do with the last staff. They're no longer here. It's about what and we have what we have, and now it's about us working and let's get them better. No, never once was it ever on Coach. It's on us and it's on our staff. It's on me as a head football coach. You know, we got to make sure that when we put a team out, that the team's ready to go play.
Chip on the far right, please.
Charlie, when you shuffled the offensive staff and put Norvell in charge of play calling and had Traylor helping him, how did the special teams get divided among the staff at that point? How, who's in charge and how does that get fixed?
Well, you look at the breakdown, Chip, and the special teams, and it's not so much the cover units. It's all about the execution, where you look at the snapper snap the ball over. And what he told me, he says, Coach, I go down and I thought I heard him say ready, so I hesitated, and then I let it go. And I probably should have just taken a penalty. And I said, yeah, you're probably best to take a penalty because we gave up 2 points. And then the kickers, it's about just going out there, punting the ball where we needed to be punted, and then the field goal kicker executing and knocking them down.
Sean in the front, please.
Coach Strong, obviously you felt close and legitimate arguments as to why you should have won the Cal or the Oklahoma State game. After 50-7 and the way you played against TCU, do you feel like you're far away now? How did that adjust your expectations?
You know what, Sean, it wasn't. I don't think we're far away at all. I just, we didn't have them prepared to play as a coach. And we know that we can do better ourselves and be more focused. But that team there Saturday, I know this. We're a better football team than that, without a doubt. We're better. We're a way better football team than that.
Stay in the middle of the room, please.
Charlie, earlier this season you felt like you had to make a change schematically and who was calling your plays. Would you consider doing that again on the defensive side of the ball and maybe taking more of the play calling yourself on defensive and on the defensive side of the ball and schemes? What do you do with Vance at this point?
Well, you look at him, and just defensively, I go back to it, and you look at the things that hurt us on defense. We're sitting there in a coverage, and it's a loaded coverage, and they run a wheel route, and it's so simple that we don't chase an inside route, and then we end up with the defensive back taking the wheel, and we let it go. And then, the one big one, the big throw is Houghton Hill had really good coverage on the receiver, and he just goes up, and, he's a physical receiver, he's a really good receiver. He goes up and comes down with the ball. But we know this on defense. It's about it's gap control. It's about getting off blocks. It's so many things just defensively in the breakdowns. And what I did yesterday is that I gave it to the offensive side and I gave it to the defensive side. It's just, just certain commandments that you had to have on both sides of the ball, where you talk about penalties, how many penalties do we have and why, and then you talk about just turnovers. You talk about, like, on offense, how many runs was 2 yards or less, the reason why. You know, on defense, how many yards was 5 yards? I mean, how many runs were 5 yards or less, and why? When you talk about just getting off the field on third down, but there's so many things. And when you break that down, then you look at, and I said our team meeting yesterday, I said, the reason it's not so much of what someone does to us, it's what we do to ourselves. And I said, and I put that up, and I said, look at us offensively. This is what happened to us. Look at us, what happened to us on defense. Now, we get those things corrected, guys. We're going to have a good football team, but we have to get those things corrected.
Mike, here on the far left.
Charlie, you've been known as a defensive coach for basically 20 years now. Is this as tough of a time as you've ever had coaching defense, and does that bother you as much as anything, not being able to play good defense?
Well, you always, everything starts with defense. And you know this, as your team, with any team, you got to play great defense because you have no chance if you don't play great defense. And right now we're not. And the thing we have to do is it's so many factors that come into play. The first one, okay, we go 3 and out. Okay, guys, that same intensity, let's keep it up. Now we go back out. We can't give up the big play. We got to get off the field on third down, and we just can't allow the quarterback to just stand in a pocket and just let it out. Now, and I will say this to some of the schemes that we're playing. Many quarterbacks don't hold the ball very long. So if you're not getting there, it's all about coverage because that ball is, when those receivers come out there, cuts, the ball is being released. And so you just got to apply pressure. So when you do blitz, you got to win the one-on-one blocks.
Back to Dennis in the middle, please.
Coach, you know, a game like that sends a little panic through some of the fan base. How much do you draw from your rebuild job at Louisville to keep you confident, to keep you unwavering? And are there some similarities in what was going on?
Yeah, you know, the only thing that's different here that is different in Louisville, the score is different, but you still got to believe in the mission, and you got to have confidence, and you have to have confidence in our players. And I told our players, I said that, you know, I have so much belief that we're going to get a turn. It just, yeah, it does look gloomy because of what happened when you go close, and then all of a sudden you get blown out. But it's more of what I keep saying is that I didn't think that was our team, and I think we can play much better than what we played, and we can coach much better. It's all about the coaching. That game is on me. It's all about doing a better job and the preparation and the focus and everything about it.
Far left here, Jane, please.
Fixing special teams in the offseason was a priority. Why aren't we seeing any improvement there? And can there be improvement at this point in the season?
Well, Jane, the special teams is just the misses. It's not like you know a lot of times when you get concerned with special teams, and we should be concerned because we miss 2 field goals. We get the punt in punted direction. And then we get a snapped over the head. But a lot of times when you look at the coverage units are there, so it's not like the return yardage is what's hurting us. It's the execution where it's on us, where we're not making the field goals or we miss an extra point, and it's all about each and every day, hey, going out kicking and putting them in a situation and making them kick the ball. And the same thing with the punting game. Hey, just making sure that he punts the ball and we can't have a shank. We can't end up with a ball. I mean, we put the ball on to 20 to kick it down the field and we kick it out of bounds, which hurts now to get the ball on the 50. But those are things there that can be corrected because it's all about the kicker just gaining confidence and them getting the confidence and getting it back.
Ricky, right here in front, please.
Charlie, I know you just, touched on it a little bit with the meetings, but can you elaborate? Did you call the meetings this weekend? And the players told us last week there was a players-only meeting, which clearly didn't work. What makes you confident that whatever was said in the meetings this week will help?
Well, the meeting I called Saturday was after the game. So when the plane landed, when we got back here on Saturday, we had a team meeting. So it's just some things that needed to be discussed. And then we had another team meeting on yesterday, but Saturday. But I was not going to let us leave here until we got some things straight.
Back here to John on the left, please.
Coach, you talk about this is the week you guys get your confidence back and playing with passion. After what you saw Saturday, what in the world makes you think it'll switch in a week?
Oh, I think they will, John, because if you think about it, I look at the game on Saturday, and it wasn't so much of, like when you kind of sit back and after like looking at the big picture, it was more of just execution. And then when something bad happens, we just got to be able to bounce back because we have fought through adversity before. So don't all of a sudden think because a team can make a play on you, then we can't bounce back. And then once bad things happen, then that's when you start losing it because you cannot ever not believe in yourself, and you always have to have that confidence. And they have it. Our guys have the confidence. It's just that, good things got to happen, but you got to make the good things happen. And that's what we're not doing. We're waiting. It's almost like we're waiting for whomever we play for them to do something bad, and then all of a sudden we could jump up. No. Let's go out and let's make those bad things happen, but let's be the ones who make it happen for them.
Bob, here in the front, please.
Coach, there are over the last few weeks, a lot of bold, sometimes very ignorant opinions coming from national writers. How does that affect recruiting, and maybe more importantly, how does that affect you and the way you go about things when it's happening on a national level?
Well, a lot of times, and I don't, Bob, I really don't hear it, but as far as recruiting, this is the University of Texas, and whomever the players are going to want to come here, so they can hear all the noise. But the ones that really want to come, they're going to come anyway. And I don't let it bother me, because I just tell our staff, listen, guys, we got it. Whatever's been said, rightfully so, because we're not getting it done the way we should. So, people are going to have opinions. I always say this, you open up to public criticism, so let's deal with it. But we can get it turned, but because you know what, you win, you don't have to worry about it. Now you lose and get beat the way we get beat, yeah, it's going to happen for you.
Cedric, right here on the left, please.
And Charlie, when you look into the eyes of your team, do you see the desperation, the hurt, the want to that you're going to need to see to get this thing turned around?
Yes, our guys, and you look at, I know they're young, but they do hurt, and it hurt them. It hurt them at halftime on Saturday, and it hurt them after the game. And even when Rick asked that question about the team meeting, I had some guys that stand up and say it was their fault. No. It wasn't your fault. It was a team fault. It wasn't any individual fault, okay? We all did it. I played my part in this, okay? We all did it. So it's not just one person that is happening to. But they feel it. And because you think about it, they're going to hear it anyway, whether they feel it or not, they're going to hear it. And they want to win too. So it's not like they're backing away and not saying, hey, we can't get it done. We can get the problem fixed. It's all about us playing together and playing as a team.
Ryan, here in the front, please.
Yeah, I'll follow up on recruiting a little bit, Charlie. What talking about like the national perception, that all that stuff affects recruiting, and then when you look at the recruiting rankings, I know how you think about recruiting rankings, but when looking at your staff, who is Mike Giglio? What does he do?
Right.
Are you happy with the strategy that you're getting recruiting-wise to get the word out about your program?
We get the word out. And what happened, Brian, is that we've already said these are the guys that we're going to recruit. And what Jiggs does is Jiggs just follow up, and he goes and he finds out all the information on every recruit, and he passes it to the position coach. So every position coach is responsible for recruiting his position. And so then what I do is then I come in behind all of them. So as far as recruiting go, I have my collection of guys that I recruit. Like these are my guys. I have about 7 or 8 that these are my guys. And then we have just a broad picture of, these are the guys we're recruiting. And like Bob said, with the, with the national media, they're all going to hear it because they're right here. Most of them are, because who we're recruiting right now, they're in the States, so they hear it and they see it. But they still come out and you get them on the phone. They're still positive when you get them on the phone. So it's more about what they always wait to see. And it's so funny with when you talk about recruiting. If they have a chance to go in and help a football team, then they're going to go. Because a lot of them now, and they look at the number of freshmen we playing right now, a lot of them don't want to go anywhere and sit. So if you can say, hey, listen, if you come in here and come to work and you have a chance, if you can contribute, then you have a chance to play, then you're going to get a lot of them.
Are you concerned that guys are making their mind up right now when you guys are focused on what's going on here?
No, because I always say this, signing day is not until first Wednesday, not till that day. So even if they commit and they're not a mid-semester, then we're going to still recruit them.
Alex, here on the left, please.
Hey, Coach. I was just wondering, have you ever had a meeting like that after a game before as a head coach, like right after the game? And my second question was about number 25 for TCU. It seemed like maybe he was a guy that Texas had a little bit of trouble accounting for. I noticed on some plays, like Nashawn Hughes was in coverage against him, Peter Jenkins, some others. Is that just a symptom of TCU used to having a lot of players. I mean, they got 9, they got 22. You're focused on those guys, and it's hard to keep up with an ancillary player like number 25 was.
No, when you talk about the first one, the first meeting, I may have had like maybe one, where I had to, call a meeting after a game. But when you talk about 25, and what he was is he was placed to the boundary with 9. So what they did is, and so what they worked the boundary a lot. So it wasn't a matter of who was placed there, whether it be Nashawn or 19, or even when we dropped down to man coverage where we play a bunch of man free. It's just where they placed him. And the one time he beat us back on an underneath route where he got back inside of us, which you got to wall him and make him get over the top of you. And then, we talk about the wheel route. You can't have your eyes inside, and he beat us on the outside route.
Sean in the middle, please.
Coach Strong, obviously one of the bigger problems on the team is both sides up front, on the offensive line and defensive line. What can you do in 3 days of practice, 1 day of hitting, to get your offensive line and your defensive line prepared to play against the University of Oklahoma?
Well, and that's where it starts at, Sean. It starts up front, and you have to be physical at the point of attack, and you have to win the line of scrimmage. You got to control the line of scrimmage, and we have to be able to run the ball, and we have to stop the run. So we know this. So we go into the game. Our mindset: if we're going to play physical, we have to run the football. So that's going to be our mindset to go run the ball. Now, on defense, we know what they have. When you look at Huron and you look at Mixon, 2 big backs, and even with Mayfield running around, so we're going to have to stop the run. This is probably as balanced as an offense that we face all year because they can run and throw. A lot of teams can throw it, but they have a combination of both. So it is. It's about us controlling the line of scrimmage and rising up and going to go play. And because I tell our guys, if we say the strength of our team is our defensive front, now here's a good challenge for you. And then if we talk about offensively, if we want to move the football, then here's another good challenge for you.
Ryan in the back left, please.
Charlie, I'm guessing at one of those 2 meetings is when Chris Boyd apologized to his teammates. Will he face any discipline from you? And his tweet, is that a sign that maybe things are splintering in the locker room and that you need to keep them together?
No, it's not that saying. A lot of times, and Chris Boyd, he did apologize to the team, but sometimes it's just immaturity where a guy walks in. Because when we come in at halftime, even when we came in Saturday, I brought the whole team together because I wasn't pleased at the way we were playing. So when I called them together, boom, then they separate with their coaches. So then the coaches have the offense, Vance will talk to the defense, and then we'll talk to the offense with Jay, and then we split up, make adjustments, and then we split up into positions. So whenever that happened, don't know when it happened, but yes, and then we will handle it within where we will handle the discipline within. But it's more of they know they can't be on their phones. I mean, they can't even. We have a team meeting. A phone can't be in the room. He will play against OU.
And we're on the front right, please.
Coach, I know you're extremely loyal, but Jonathan Graves hasn't really been getting it done this year, and Nick Rose has definitely been struggling. Do you have to consider, giving some guys behind them more playing time this week?
Well, you look at Saturday with Jay Gray, and the thing about him is he just works so hard, and he's such a positive impact and a positive player, and he helps, and he helps Deontay a lot. So you look at those 2 guys, and they're back and forth. So it's not so. I know that Deontay had a big game there on Saturday, carried a bunch of it, but those guys are back and forth, and Jay Gray's good for him, and he's good for Jay Gray. And with Nick Rose, we had a conversation. Him and I talked this past weekend. So I told him, I said, what we're going to do is open it up for just open competition, and just not very pleased with what we're doing there.
Kirk in the back middle.
Charlie, what do you think is a fair amount of time for you to turn this program around? And do you worry that you might not even get to year 3 at all?
Kurt, you know what? Every day's a battle, so I have no idea. You know what? Every day I come in knowing that it's my job to come in and make sure that this program is represented the right way and doing the right things and going to win football games and developing young men, and that's each and every day.
Chip on the far right, please.
Charlie, are you still letting the position coaches decide when players go into a game are you on the same page with Vance in terms of guys like Holton Hill and Boyd getting on the field, playing, Breckenhager, are you letting the position coaches decide that, or?
No, what we do is on Saturday mornings when we meet before a game, Chip, is that we sit in there as a staff. So when I have the staff meetings, I tell Vance, ask him how we're going to play on defense, Jay, how we're going to attack them on offense, and then go around the table and then say, hey, when are we going to place these guys in the game? So everybody already have a plan. So when we sit there around the table, then you know exactly when these guys are going to go in the game, or whoever we're substituting. And then it comes down to once they have played, then who's playing the best, and now you just leave them in the game and go play with them. Because even, you look at, we start off with Houghton, and then Devontae played, and then two played. So it's always a Hager play. I mean, Saturday, you look out there, and you line up with PJ at safety. Then you had the two freshmen at corner. Then you look at Malik and Wheeler were at backer. Then we brought in Hager some at backer. But it's all when you talk about the young guys playing, we always have a plan for that. So they just they don't just go in the game, hey, play two, this guy's going in the game. No. We'll let the other guys go in and play some, and then we will substitute in.
Jeff, second row middle, please.
Charlie, two questions. One, DeJay was counted on to be a playmaker for you guys last week. Can you give us any kind of update on if you expect him to be back this week? And following up on that is, have you had any conversation with Gerard about how the game went, and did you have to kind of pump him up a little bit?
Yeah, the thing with DeJay is when he got hit there Saturday, he for a minute didn't know where he was, and then he kind of at halftime came to himself. But he's going to be. We checked him yesterday. We're going to check him today. So we're going to check him each and every day just to see exactly where he is, and we're not going to put him out there unless he's just ready to go. And I told our doctors, let's make sure, because he's going to say he is, but let's make sure that through all the tests that he's ready to go. And Gerard, he just felt so bad, and I told him, I said that the thing you can't do is just lose who you are, because you have a ton of confidence, and you can't let just one game be that deciding factor where all of a sudden you don't continue to compete. But that won't happen to him because he has so much confidence and he believes in himself that he's one of those guys that he can bounce back, and he can bounce back. When you're talking about young guys, sometimes they don't know. They're ready to bounce back and get going and get ready for the next one.
Chris in the camera well, far right.
Coaches, this as big of a game as it is this kind of the perfect time for this game, because you'll get everybody locked in because it is such a rivalry and they know what the stakes are against Oklahoma?
Chris, I think back last night, and a lot of times we go out on Sundays, there's a lot of joking and guys are really, just kind of messing around. But last night you can see that no joking going around, kind of settled in. And I looked at one of our coaches and I said, this game came at the right time for us. So now we can get them focused and get them back. And, when I talk about, hey, it's time for us to get our confidence back and get these guys back on track, and it does. It falls at a great time for us. And so we'll see just, how much that we're going to go out and just go compete, and how much we got to get them prepared and get them focused.
Roger, second row middle.
Charlie, do you have people in your life, tough times, good times, that you kind of lean on, and maybe outside the program you seek their advice, appreciate their wisdom?
I do, and the thing about it, right, it's so funny because I guess people think I'm dying sad. It's tough, and the thing I say about it is adversity is going to hit you, and you want to do more because it's just who you are. When you have that competitive nature in you, that you expect more, you want to see more. And I say to people all the time, okay, I'm okay. You get a million phone calls. I can only imagine what you're going through. Okay, it's what it is. It's university. It's what you sign on for. But no, I do. I talk to people because they're gonna call. When the right ones call me, I answer their call.
Charlie, I just wonder if you had any kind of injury update on Perkins, Shiro, or Hager. And then also, second question, how much do you look into junior college recruiting for the depth issues on offensive line and defensive line to shore up some things there?
Well, I answer the second one first. When you talk about just recruiting with the junior college linemen, sometimes you have to place those linemen there to really know what you're going to get back in return. But if there's a really good one out there, then if you have wherever they place that, if that head coach knows you, then they're going to give you a call. We've had some calls about some of the linemen, so we're going to get a chance but you have to really research them and make sure that they're the right fit. And then with Perk and with Shiro and Hager, I know Hager has a high ankle. Right now, Shiro, we probably get him back later on this week. And with Perk, just know it's day-to-day, not exactly the timetable on him.
Bob, in the middle, last three.
You've talked a lot about how the veterans need to really pick up a lot of the freshmen right now, but there's a growing concern that some of those juniors and seniors may be checking out or going, going about their own way. How do you keep those juniors and seniors involved and committed for the last 6-7 games of the year?
What I did, Bob, last night, I had a meeting with the seniors, and I said to them, I said, listen. And we were just talking about this game. I said, you've been there, you know the atmosphere. Some of these young guys haven't been there, so you're really going to have to talk to them and let them understand just how big this game is. But when talking to them, they all say, hey, Coach, we got to get to a bowl game. And that was them telling me. So I don't think, a lot of times people think that, hey, they're going through tough times. Guys, kids, they won't check out because the thing about it is they just want to continue to compete. And what they want to see happen is they don't want to be that group that says, hey, you know what, this group quit on me. They don't want to hear that because they just want to make sure, hey, let's go in this thing the right way. And when you got guys like Jay Gray, you have Duke, you're sitting there with Seth Flowers, Doyle, you still have a group of guys, Delator, you have a group of guys that they still want it for themselves, where they're saying like, the coach, no, we're not, I don't know where that's coming from. We're not going to quit.
John, as far left.
Coach, you talked about Oklahoma's balanced offense. What concerns you about a quarterback like Baker Mayfield?
Just looking at Baker, and I go back to that Tennessee game, he's unbelievable when he gets outside the pocket. And he's just like, he feels more comfortable when the protection breaks down and he can get outside and release the ball. And his percentage rate goes up so high. And then, he has the receivers that he can throw to with Westbrook and with Shepard. It's amazing to watch him because he can beat you with his feet, and he can run the ball well enough and throw it where he gets the ball in the right guy's hands. And that's why I say they're just so balanced on offense because of him and watching Baker go.
Last one to Anwar on the right.
Coach, last year, it seemed like you guys as coaches were probably more upset about the losing than some of your players were. And you kept saying, like, 6 wins will never be the standard here. So do you feel like these guys are upset about where they're sitting at right now? Does it bother them at all?
Yeah, Anwar, it really does bother them. And, and for someone not to think that, because you think about it, when you put all the time in, you put all the effort, you put all that work in, and you're not getting positive results, and it eats them alive. And then they realize the expectations here are so high that they know that every day here it's about working. Every day it's about us getting better. And now that we're not having success, it bothers them, and it grinds them out. And that's why I keep telling them, listen, the only thing you have right now is your team. So you just got to stay together, you stay as a family, and you got to work through it together. And now what happens is through adversity, either we're going to get stronger or we're going to fall apart, but we're not going to fall apart. So you might as well realize we're going to get stronger, and we're just going to continue to work and just battle through it. And they understand that, especially coming from because the upperclassmen have been through it. They've seen it. The freshmen, for some of them, they haven't experienced losing because some of them come from really good programs. So it's the first time a lot of them probably have lost the number of games that we've lost because where they come from. So it's a matter of us just sticking together and just battling it out. It'll happen.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks.